Good morning. Happy Friday. Hope you guys are doing well. All right, so had a few questions about actually doing smile lines on shorter nail beds. So I'm going to go through the process and show you guys what you can achieve, what you can do to achieve perfection when it comes to that. Let's get right to it. All right, so what we want to be able to do, I've kind of laid out a couple of, you have something that's obviously longer, right? And then something that's really short, maybe with a little bit of skin hanging off the edge. Well, let's go ahead and prep this first so that we have a really good, basically prep surface to work with. What I want to be able to do is replicate the whole process, right? So we're going to go through and push cuticles back, and then I want to be able to use my electric file. What we're going to do is we're going to gently remove shine from the surface of the nail, right? Okay, so I'm going to come through and lightly kind of feather away. Now, I mean, for me, I want to be able to do this in one, right? And then, my thought process is trying to pick up a bead that's about half the size of the nail bed. Okay, so obviously you're going to have to pick up something a lot smaller than this. But if you struggle with that, then what you can do is you can break it down into two. Now, if you were going to use a form, right, to extend the length of the nail bed, you could do that as well. It's one way of achieving a slightly longer length. I understand that sometimes somebody with really, really short nail beds are not going, the natural nail, right? It's not going to look natural, right? The smile line is going to look a little bit wider. And I mean, honestly, that's the way it's going to be unless you actually extend some length. If I was going to extend a little bit of length, what I would do is I would kind of build out the body. I'll show you. So since we're working with a shorter nail plate, what I want to be able to do is, I don't have any scissors here. Go ahead and clip away some of this form. All right, so what I could do is clip away just the edge of that form. Just bring this up slightly up above, boom. It's just gonna act like a platform. And then what I could do is I can kind of pre-pinch the edge so that this kind of just lays right underneath, boom, right just up onto the skin. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to get it so that the corners, you don't have to worry about getting it all the way to the corners. I just want it to lay absolutely flush on the nail. That's really, really important to me. Now, what we can do before we actually get into building any type of length is we can kind of extend the actual natural nail. So I'll go ahead and get a bead, very, very small. So I'm going to submerge my brush. I'm going to try to remove as much as I possibly can. And then that way when I kind of bounce into the surface, I'm going to be able to pick up a really small bead. I'll go ahead and remove that excess. And then when I actually set that down to the very, very front, it's not going to get away from me. So I'm using this as a means to kind of push a little bit of length to this. And this platform is going to act, this is going to act as a platform to me actually building a little bit of a deeper smile, okay? All right, so, again, someone was asking me, how do you get it to look a little bit longer? Well, in order to be able to do that, if there is no length, use your cover powder just to kind of come out to here. Now, for those of you guys that struggle with actually getting it down in one, you could always set a bead here first. And so if I submerge my brush, bounce, 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 get myself again a few seconds, I could set it dead center, right? So if I set this dead center and then use the body of my brush, actually more the tip of the brush, right, to slide it to the side, then this bead will run down towards the platform that I created, right? Okay, so you can see how what we've done is we've managed to actually get this right out to the very, very edge, okay? So it's kind of a process that we're taking in order to achieve perfection. What I'm trying to achieve is how do I kind of extend that natural nail to give a little bit of length. And I'm also showing you guys methods that you could use so that you don't actually have to do it in one bead. So I'm really kind of holding up. You can see that ledge that I'm creating. Now, if you're doing glitter, dude, you can literally, it doesn't matter what you're doing, you could just kind of butt it up to the edge. I can move on to the next nail, then I can come back and I can kind of file that into shape. But honestly, what we're going to do is we're just going to trust my brush, and we're going to get it right to the edge. All right, so now what I want to be able to do is get something smaller, right? A little bit too wet. Submerge my brush, tap, bounce, 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 bounce. And then again, I want to be able to just wait a couple of seconds. I'm going to go ahead and set that down. I'm going to use the tip of my brush. I'm just going to kind of slide it with light motion around the edge, keeping the finger pointed down, really just kind of touching around the edges, and then I just kind of feather into the body, right? So you can see how I've managed to kind of build this really beautiful, like longer extended smile line, right? So this is what we're going to do to be able to build something that actually has a little bit of length, right? So the hardest thing is being able to achieve this level of perfection from side to side so that my smile line matches. It's a little bit longer than normal, right? Because her natural nail's way back. Her natural nail's way back here. I had to build that little bit of a platform in order to be able to achieve that. You can see down the body of the nail, right, the length or the thickness that I have from one side to the other. That's really important as well. Okay, so once we have that done, then you could choose to use whatever means you want. If we decide that we wanted to go with, if we decided we want to go with white, you can go with white. I'm going to go ahead and use Wizard Knickers, the new color that just came out. And then we're going to do something short. We're not going to do anything crazy. So I'm going to take this color, and then I'm just going to kind of drain out excess because I don't want it to go all over the place. I'm going to go ahead and set this down. She's going to want, say, active length, almond shape. So I'm going to walk this all the way up to that corner, right up to there. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, walk it up using, again, the very body of my brush, boom, all the way to that corner. And then start to use the side of my brush to kind of bring this in to a really, really nice shape. Constantly wiping my brush, and then right here, just the front, I'm just going to make sure that we just, and again, I don't want to build this tip too long because I realize that her natural nail is way back here. I don't want to build something like this big, right? So this, until we can actually get that natural nail to actually kind of grow out. Okay, so once we actually have this set, what I want to do just to ensure that I have great kind of stability and strength at the tip, I'm going to take a little bit of the Speed Clear, just a very, very small amount, and I'm just going to kind of cap the tip. Right, so it's just putting a real slight, shallow amount of Speed Clear over the top. What this is going to do is kind of accelerate the surface cure. It's going to kind of protect the color as well. I'm just kind of pushing that in, making sure that it's going to be nice and even. I don't need a lot. So if I'm missing, you can see that I'm just going to come in and add a little bit right there, just kind of brushing it on. I'm not worried about getting it over this area because that whole area is going to file away. All right, perfect. That's how we're going to kind of extend the length. You can see that I've made it almost as long as this when this was actually, this nail right here was way back here in length. Much, much shorter. We're going to allow that to dry, and then we can go ahead and file this into shape. A lot of the times when you're working with, say, a free edge that's, I'll show you, you just go ahead and grab one of my tips. But if you're working with something, this is the size of the tip, right? All right, so it's way back, right? If you need to extend it, it really is just a matter of just kind of bringing this right down to that point right there. It's not about going like way out to here. It's about bringing the platform, which is just going to be, it's almost like you're extending the natural nail, boom, right up to that edge. If you were going to glue a tip on, you'd have to make sure that you blended the tip absolutely flush to the surface of the nail, and then you can go through the same process. You can go through the same process of actually building this out because you have the platform absolutely established. All right, let me just go ahead and kind of clean up. Make sure that, right, leave your brush inside your dish. It's going to make sure that it kind of pulls out all of the, if there's acrylic that's set inside your brush, you're going to make sure that you're going to pull out all that acrylic as well. And then what I usually will do before or after I'm done, make sure that you're just going to rinse out and pull out any product that is in the brush, bringing it to a really, really nice point. Keeps it nice and soft. Perfect. All right. Nail should be almost finished. I want to make sure I feel the surface. I know the top is, you can usually hear it, clicking sound. You can see the tip is clicking sound. This is still slightly spongy. If I wanted to remove this, I'm just going to pull it from the bottom. You can see that it's just right here on the tip. It's just slightly flexible. So I just want to make sure that it's completely dry. A lot of times when you're actually working with straight color, it takes a lot longer to dry. So if I just slightly cap it, then I know that within, obviously a certain time frame it's going to. So one of the things I could do is before I actually start filing the edges, if I was in a rush, I could kind of do the surface filing first, try to get that smile line down. A lot of the electric filing around the smile line is going to accelerate the curing process just because of the heat that's generated. And I'm not trying to generate a massive amount of heat. No one's ever going to feel it. It's going to be mostly surface. I'm going to place my bit on. I don't need to go all the way in. I'm just going to leave a little bit of space. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and run my electric file around 12,000 RPM. So if I'm not going to file my perimeter right off the bat, what I want to do is just try to get that smile line tight. So if you're looking down the side, right, like I'm looking here, so I don't really need to file that much in this corner. So I want to be able to file through my upper arch. Boom, right? To make sure it's nice and even. And then as I come through here, right, in one direction, I'm coming in one direction. And then you'll notice as I'm coming around the corner that, like, I'm going to be able really to bring that smile to really, really fine surface. You can see how nice and sharp it gets. You can see the extension that I've built out. I'm going to go lightly around the perimeter and then come through the whole entire body. All right, now since I've taken down a majority of the excess, I can kind of do the perimeter filing to bring it all into shape. So what I want to be able to do just to make sure my sides are even. Boom, following all the way down and around. I want to file those corners away. Gotta be really careful. My lower arch. I want to be able to get that super tight. One of the things I do is I like to turn the hand to the side. Bring that up. So it's going to be really nice and straight. You can see how really well it files. Perfect. I'm not going for crazy length. I'm going for something that's going to be basically nice and tight. Go around the perimeter of the nail. Make sure that everything is going to blend in extremely well. Don't want to file my corners. And then last but not least, I want to be able to look down this profile just to make sure that my edges are nice and even. Yeah, so for those of you guys that were really wondering how you're going to be able to add length, especially for maybe a nail biter, this is definitely the way that you're going to be able to do it. I'm going to notice that. All right. That's how we're going to be able to achieve perfection. All right, you can see that it actually looks longer. And that nail, it's like literally, right, it's that short. So I was able to add a little bit of length to the surface that makes all the difference in the world. Let's go ahead and use a little bit of the finish gel. Just so that you guys can see. Oops. What I forgot to do, give me 2 seconds. Hold on. Go through the process. For those of you guys that are wondering, what I do recommend, and I always teach, to prevent your top coats from peeling, make sure you use a little bit of protein bond around the edges. If you come through the surface, not a big deal. And then we come in with a really nice, even amount of finish. Boom. Cool. I hope this helps. All right. You're going to be able to see how you're going to be able to get that nice and structured. That's how you're going to be able to add length to somebody who has really, really short nails. All right, cool. If you guys have any questions, hit me up. Hope you guys have a safe weekend. I'm not going to be here next week. Actually, I'll be here on Monday morning. But next week, I'm climbing to the top of Mount Whitney. I'll be making posts, 14,500, I think in 5 feet. Tallest peak in the continental United States. Let's go, baby. Have a great weekend. I'll see you guys soon. Thanks a lot.